Happy Saturday and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Robin McClendon, and here we've been pausing so that we can regulate our neurological systems. We can get a little bit of zen along with our creativity, because you know what? Spirituality, creativity, personal harmony is at the root of our being able to pursue our passions and have the fun that we really want to have in our studios and in our lives, right? So we've been doing a lot of that this year. And we've been doing it in our pause journal. So journaling is also a powerful tool to really help to open up dialogues, to unleash, sort of the creative ideas and concepts that we have. But it also unlocks that little right brain voice that oftentimes will get overshadowed by the left brain. And speaking of the left and right brain, this week's pause is pause 39, and it is a quote from Jill Bolte Taylor that I heard on a recent podcast. I'll put the podcast below. It was a Diary of a CEO. She was just recently interviewed on there, and I'm listening to her talk about the neurological aspects of the brain and how it's connected to the entire body systems, and she's very passionate about all of this. And I remember seeing her on a TED Talk like years ago. So this is the first time in years I really had sat down and listened to where she is and what she has to say. Well, in her talking and in the interview, she says pausing activates the third brain. She also calls it the third character. And I thought, I stopped in that moment, I thought, pausing activates the third brain. Well, the third brain is creativity, it's our passions, it's where we like to just have fun and get, dirty and messy hands and all over the place. And it's just the kid in us that just wants to explore and have the best fun. Well, that's what we're about over here. And I thought, pause 39. I'm going to take it directly from a person who not only knows what she's talking about, but had one heck of experience that awakened her a number of years ago when she had started having a hemorrhage in her left brain. And being a neuroscientist, she knew that something was going unusual in the brain, and she started having this slow loss of functions. She made it to the hospital. She was able to have a very, very tricky surgery, came out on the other side. But when she did, she was alive, like she said, but she was basically an adult baby. Nothing moved. She had lost all three hemispheres, all four. So out of the four, she lost 3 parts of the brain. And she talks about the left brain has 2 sections and the right brain has 2 sections. So I'll just do a quick rundown. She also calls them characters. She says we have 4 characters. And at any period, any given moment, we can show up with one of those characters. And we can come in the room one character and we can leave another. And I can relate to that myself. And so she encourages us to get to know these characters. But on the left brain, so you have left brain thinking. That's the analytical. That's all the analytical, get things done, put things in order, what have you. You then have the emotional left brain. That's generally where our pain, our trauma is stored, things that happened to us a long time ago, and it rooted itself in our ego, and the ego is there to oftentimes protect us. So, and that is the job of the ego. So it's not good or bad. It's just trying to protect us. That's also where addictions are formed, are in the emotional side of the left brain. Then you have the thinking side of the right brain. So the thinking side of the right brain is all about, moving in a circle, passions, having a good time, all of the right brain fun activities. And then you have the emotional right brain. And the emotional right brain is always in the present moment. It doesn't know the past, it doesn't know the future. All it knows is every present moment. And that's where wonder and awe come from. That's where your connection to the universe and to the higher sources of conscious, all of that is in the emotional right brain. So with that said, when she came out of surgery, the first 3 sections of the brain was gone. She was only left with the emotional right brain. So it was only in the present moment. She had no memories. She was constantly in this state of sort of like sort of cosmic awareness, you know, that kind of thing. And it took her 8 years to actually regain all of her functionality. Her brain came back completely. All of her functionality came back. She could talk and walk again. Everything was fully functional. She got back to teaching, etc. But it took her 8 years, and she literally had to relearn everything again to get all those systems up and running again, just like babies do. You know, learning how to lift the arm, all of it. And for a good portion of the beginning part of it, she could only be in this brain that was just only in the present moment, and everything was amazing and everything was wonderful. And so even though she was rehabilitating, she didn't experience it with the other parts of her brain for a while, you know, because everything was wonder. It was all new. It was fascinating. As we continue this conversation and I started researching Jill's work, I discovered she's a sculptor as well. It activated something in me because I've always wanted to learn pottery. This is perfect timing because I'm excited to partner with Skillshare in this video. Skillshare has creative classes taught by amazing world-class creatives like professional illustrators, renowned graphic designers, and successful entrepreneurs. This platform is designed to help you build creativity into your life by learning directly from real, super talented, successful creatives. And as creatives this year, we've also seen how the sacred pauses can help unlock deeper creativity. I went on to Skillshare to begin exploring pottery and watch tutorials from Megan Clark, who focused on hand-built pottery, Cindy Gujardo, whose classes on pottery dishes without fancy tools is perfect for someone just starting out. Those videos helped me realize I didn't need nearly as much as I thought to get started, and making my supply list gave me confidence to just begin. Skillshare is offering a 30-day trial plus 20% off your first year this November. Perfect timing to follow our curiosity. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code get 1 month free and 20% off their first payment. So let's get started. So what I got to thinking about when I was listening to her, when she said pausing activates that third brain, which is the thinking brain, the thinking part of the right brain, which is what we use as artists, as creatives. We all use it. Even if you don't do art, you're using that part of that creative, passionate, fun side of that brain. Maybe you love hiking, maybe you love mountain climbing, maybe you're just passionate for paddle boarding, or which is one of the things she loves to do. Maybe you just like to go out on the lakes and kayak. You just have such a passion for it. And when you're doing that, everything else doesn't matter. That's that brain. Well, I thought about our pauses, and that's exactly what we've been going through. And I felt in a lot of ways that video came up at the right time, because we're moving towards the end of the year. We're finishing up our pausing. We're in November. We'll finish up the middle of December. And what a beautiful confirmation that I received sitting there listening to that interview of the journey that we've been on, the journey that I've taken you guys on, that you've trusted me on this journey, the journey I've taken myself on, and that I trusted myself to go on this journey and some kind of way have the courage to bring you guys along with me, hoping that the results that I was getting, that you would get as well. And so many of you have, and so many of you have shared with me. And so it's just how the universe is. It will turn up and give you what you need when you need to hear it. So I couldn't help but make this Pause 39 one that I would share this quote with you, and this opportunity that I had to watch this interview and hear what she had to say. You got to look at the interview. I'm going to post it below. It's powerful. And this woman's passion, her joy for life, her perspective that all that really, really matters is that we are here right now and that we're able to do the things that make us happy. And it's so important to do more of those things that make us happy and less of the things that are just rudimentary or left brain analytical, the things that sort of keep us stuck in our pain. Use our pain as fuel to create the life that we want to create. And that's what that third brain does. The third character does that. And then, of course, the emotions of that fourth brain, the quality, just that heart emotion, it's hard to even put into words, is just so powerful. So so what happened then is I went further down the rabbit hole with Miss Taylor, because I was fascinated. I had heard her story earlier, like I said, years ago on a TED Talk. But what she did, once she rehabilitated herself, as she says, she was on the Harvard ladder. Before she had this brain hemorrhage, she was positioning herself to be a tenured professor in the neural brain studies. She does like neuroanatomy, I think it's called. So she works with cadavers and does examines and does the work around that. And so she was teaching it at Harvard, but she was on her road to just being a tenure professor, blah blah blah. And this happened. Well, of course, that knocked her off that ladder, like she said. 8 years of rehabilitating, Harvard wasn't waiting. But during that time period, she discovered so many other things that made her so happy and brought her so much joy that she didn't return to creating that type of career for herself. She still taught. She still teaches. I believe she still teaches. But 50% of the time she does that. And she says 50% of the time she loves paddleboarding. But guess what else she loves? She taught herself, she took classes in limestone sculpting. She's a sculptress. She has some beautiful sculptures. I went to her website and scrolled down, and that the third brain that she sculpts out of, she calls it Pigpen. She names her character. So I think I remember that the second character, which is the emotional left brain, she calls it Abby. So Abby is addictions and stuff like that, right? So she's named these parts of herself that she's begun to recognize as these four characters. It's fascinating. But the third brain, or the third character, is Pigpen. You remember Pigpen from Charlie Brown? And she just loves to make a mess, and she's in her studio and she's sculpting, and dust is everywhere, and just dust is piling, plumes are going up all around her, and she's just in utter joy. And she decided that this is the life she was supposed to live, that she wouldn't change it, that she's happy to sculpt and paddleboard 50% of her time. And she really allots that time. And it really had me thinking how I've been struggling to allot more time just for myself, just to do the things that I want to do. And that has been such an encouragement for me to spend more of my downtime learning new things and exploring. And I love to hike, but I don't allot enough time to hike. I want to just start hiking weekly. I thought about maybe I'll join a hiking group, and that'll challenge me to hike weekly, and just so many things like that I'm not prioritizing the same way. I'm lucky that I created a life where my job is my art, and of course I love my art, I'm passionate about it. So in a lot of ways I'm in a good place, but there are other things that I could prioritize that I'm not, and I am going to commit to myself to start doing that. So yeah, the third brain, the third character, pausing activates it. And I can tell you, these pauses that we've been doing this year has really activated just more personal insight. I've just had so many more ideas for my art projects and the things that I've been exploring. So I think we all can put our hand up on the fact that, these pauses have really helped us to maybe dig a little deeper and bring forth new ideas about our creativity. So in this journal, you've already, I know you've already begun to see the journal, but I always like to show it up close. So this right here is a gel print on some thin paper. I think this is on like menu tissue or whatever. But I really just like the abstract, the colors of it. I felt that it works well with this side. And then it was a fold out. So on this side, I collaged some papers, but this is where I wrote, pausing activates the third brain. And over here is another gel print. And for some reason this time I decided where it ended there, I wanted to bring it up to the top and finish it off with the same thing. And then this goddess, I put her there because I wanted to be a reminder of myself, a reminder that how this pausing, not only has activated the third brain more, but has given me an opportunity to see myself in some different ways. And a part of it has to do with just a deeper dive into my own, femininity, into my own goddess self, and what that looks like. So that's the journaling. That's our pause. I invite you to not only take it easy this week, just reflect. This is a week of reflection. That's how it's been for me. Check out Jill's video, the interview. I think you'll enjoy it. And just sort of think about the fun that you've had this year around this journaling process and anything that you've been doing in your studio, all the art that you've been doing in your studio. And let's celebrate the fact that we've been able to do this, that and reflect upon those changes you've been able to make around seeing yourself in deeper ways and with a little bit more breath. Yeah, I'm just celebrating this week, and I'm just sort of contemplating the idea of the pausing and the effects that they've had. So that's pause 39. It's exciting. And, just once again, thank you guys for being on this journey with me. Please have beautiful, beautiful time in your studios this week, activating that third brain. I'm gonna name my third characters. I'm gonna name all of my characters. I don't know what my third character is right now, but I'm gonna spend some time naming her. So that's one of the things I think I'll do. I'd be interested in finding out what you guys' names are for your third character, for that pig pen, which she calls her pig pen, part of herself. All right, love you all. Have an amazing week, and until next week, have fun in your studios.